one more time. If you haven't joined the classroom, please be sure to join this classroom so you can get Eduphoria credit and you can put your questions or comments into the classroom stream. And let's get going. All right, to start out, an easy way to start out a Google form is just to type in the word forms and then the word new, and that starts you a brand new Google form. That is a quick and easy way. You can always go through your Drive and start one, or you can go to the apps launcher and start one, but I found that this is one of the easiest ways to start a form. We are going to go into the 5th grade remote learning lesson plan. And on Wednesday, we have this activity in science, which is a PDF of the pages in Think It Up. And this is extremely easy to turn this handout into a Google form. And we're even going to include the images. And so you can add all those questions into that Google form. So back to our form. And while you're watching this stream, I would suggest that you just take some notes and jot some key points down instead of trying to watch it and then switch a tab and trying to do what I just did. It's probably easier to take some notes and then use your notes to go and create your own Google form. And then once the recording becomes available, you can always follow up with anything that you're confused about. So the first thing on the Google form is we're going to give it a title. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the name of this page right here. And so if I could copy it, maybe I'll have to copy it from the plans. Oh, I'm opening it up again. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go back to my form, and I'm simply just going to paste it in this top line and then clean it up a little bit. I'm going to go as far as even to put the date. Is Wednesday, so it's going to be April 1st. Then it helps me keep track of which form they're going to go into which assignment. Now, as you noticed, I have a title here, but up here it still says entitled form. And with one click of my mouse, now that title will go up into that top area. Underneath the title, you see a section for form description. And this is where you can put instructions for your students. Even give them words of encouragement. It is optional. You don't have to put any information there. All right, so we have our titles. Now let's go up to our settings. And this is the gear wheel icon, which we have some specific settings for these forms. So some options that you probably want to consider is to collect their email address. That way you can send the results back to them. I wouldn't even worry about responder receipts. We are going to restrict users to Temple ISD. We want to make sure they're our students that are taking this quiz and they have a G Cloud login. And since this is going to be a quiz, let's go ahead and limit it to 1 response. Now, if you want the students to keep taking this quiz until they make 100, then you're going to turn that off. And for remote learning, that might be a good idea that they get 100% mastery before they complete the assignment. So, but again, that's going to be your choice. But if you only want them to take the quiz 1 time, then you're going to limit. But if you want them to keep taking the quiz over and over again, then don't leave that blank. Underneath the bottom, respondents can. We're not going to have them edit, so make sure that check mark is removed, and we don't want them to see a summary of responses. Now, other types of Google Forms, you may do these options, but we're specifically turning this Google form into a quiz, so we don't want them to see any of that information. I scrolled back up to find the word presentation, and in the middle, clicking on presentation, there's this choice right here. It says show link to submit another response. Now, again, if you're going to have them take this until they get 100 or a certain grade level, then you're going to want to put that link back on there. So if they don't make 100, they can keep taking this quiz over and over again. And then you can give them a special message that says, you know, if you did not make 100, please retake. And you can customize that message for whatever you want it to display to the students. You could shuffle question order if you want. Again, that's going to be up to you. Kind of how you want your quiz to display to the students. And then show progress bar. Well, we're going to have one page, so we don't even have a progress bar. We're going to wait for this quizzes one, and we're going to come back to that. But for now, we're going to click on save. So we've got our title, and we have our settings. So now we're going to start ready to add some questions. So the first question always should be your name. And the reason why is because a student's email address is their ID number. So unless you have all of their ID numbers memorized and you know which ID number goes with which student, you're probably going to want the question number one to be their name. And you're going to want this question to be required. So in the bottom of this white box, there's a place that says required, and you just click the white circle and it slides it over and turns it purple or whatever color your screen is set to. And that means they won't be able to submit the form until they answer that question. So question one, that was easy. Now question two. So on this right-hand side, there's a plus symbol with a circle around it. And we're going to click on that plus to add another question. And I'm going to refer back to the PDF of the Think It Up assignment to get my question. And I can copy and paste. Makes it really easy. So I'm going to select my text, choose right click, and then choose copy. Go back to my form, go to the little question box, right click, and choose paste. And I noticed it didn't paste it perfectly, so I might have to do some backspace or space bars in order for the text to appear correct. Now I have to go get my answer choices. Same thing. I go back to my PDF. I'm going to select my text. There's no reason to get the letter A. Then I'm going to right click and choose copy and go back to my Google form. And then I'm going to right click under option 1, and then I'm going to choose paste. But as you can see, it dropped an extra word into the next bubble. And I know this one is supposed to be part of this up here. So it's already highlighted. So I'm just going to right click on it and choose cut to take it out of this space, and then go to the correct answer choice and then paste it in. So now that one looks all correct. Now I have 3 more answer choices to do. So I'm going to go back to my PDF, select the text that I want, right click, and then choose copy. Go back to my Google form, and now for option 2, I'm going to right click and choose paste. And then once again, for some reason, it added this extra word down here. So it's already selected. I'm going to right click and choose cut. Go up to the top, and notice it's selected everything. And if I were to start typing, it's going to all go away. Luckily, I can do Control Z to bring it back. But if it's selected, you may need to click again outside of the blue area, or use one of the arrow keys on your keyboard to make that blue selection go away. And then right click and choose paste. 2 more to go for this question, and then I'll be done. Once again, we select the text that we want, choose right click and copy. Back to our Google form, option 3, right click, paste, and I bet you I'm going to get that extra word again. Yep, there it is. And we know how to fix that. It's already selected, and we're going to right click and choose cut this time. Now, you may not have to do this every single time. It just depends on what you are copying and pasting. Sometimes it pastes it perfectly clean for you and you don't have to fix it. And sometimes you have to do a little tweaking to get it to look right. All right, one more answer choice, and then we're going to move on. And then once again, cut that out. Arrow key, space bar, right click, and then paste. Now I still have this random option 5 right here, and that will show up. And so I have to go over here on the far right and choose this X to get rid of that answer choice. So let me bring that back again. So again, we got option 5 still here. And Google Forms allows you to preview what your form will look like as you're building it. And that's right here on this eyeball. And so if I click this eyeball, it opens up in a new tab. And then I can see the form as it would be as a student would see it. And notice there is my option 5 right there. So I'm going to close this tab and go back and fix that. So there's my option 5. And again, I get rid of this option by clicking the X on the far right-hand side. There's my X. And now that option 5 is gone. And I can confirm that by clicking on the eyeball to see the preview. And yes, that option 5 is gone. All right, so far so good. Let me check and see if we... All right, doing good. All right, last thing to do for this question is we do have to make it required. Now, neat trick here is you can change your settings within Google Forms to make all questions required. How about we do that? So under the 3 vertical dots, I'm going to choose Preferences, which is at the very bottom. And notice in my preferences, I have a choice to make all questions required. To me, it's much easier to make them all required and then decide which ones I don't want. And especially if we're doing a quiz, I do want all the students to answer it. So if I make all questions required, then every time I make a question, I don't have to worry about moving that slider bar. But in this case, the next question will pick up that setting. So I do have to make this one required. All right, now we're going to stretch it a little bit. We're going to add some images, because if we look at our next question, we have a bug, we have a couple of plants, and some seeds. We got to put these pictures in. Well, let's start with making our question first. So back to our Google form. I'm going to click on the plus to add another question. Hey, look, it's already required. Change that setting. Now I'm going to go back to my PDF and copy this text as well as the text underneath the bug, because that text goes together. So I'm going to right click and then choose copy. Go back to my Google form. Hey, this stuff's pretty easy. And then we're going to choose paste. I got some red squigglies, which lets me know there's some, it pasted incorrectly. And so I can click in there and adjust what the space bar is. Now I need that picture of a bug. Okay. And so this is going to kind of vary depending on what device you're using. If you're using a Chromebook, you want to know these buttons, and you're going to want to write this down to make a screenshot. Okay. You're going to hold down the Control and Shift button with one hand, and then with your other hand, push the button above the 6. So one more time, on a Chromebook, you're going to use Control and Shift at the same time. Then with your other hand, push the button above the 6. And that will gray out your screen and allow you to make a screenshot. Now, if you're using a PC, then in the search bar, the white search bar on the bottom left, you can type in the word snip. It brings up what's called the snipping tool. Let's see if we can get this up here. So here's our snipping tool. And if I click on the word new, it kind of grays my screens out and gives me a crosshairs, and I just click and drag what I want to take a screenshot of, then let go of my mouse, and that shows up. All right, so let's give this a try now. So I have to go back to my PDF. I'm going to bring in my screenshot tool. And remember, on a Chromebook, it's Control-Shift and button above the 6. So I'm going to do new. Here's my bug. I'm going to put a box around my bug. I got him now. Now I'm going to save him. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to save this snip. Oh, I did new snip. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. We're going to do File and do Save As. Let's see if this will work if we're working from home. Well, let's see. I've saved it somewhere. I'm going to go back to my Think It Up page. I'm sorry, my Google Form page. And next to the question, when I put my mouse in the question box, this little square with mountain shows up, which means image. And so I'm going to click on this image. Now, depending on if you're a Chromebook or a PC, that's going to determine where your image is. But either way, I'm going to click this browse button that shows up. Now, if you're on a Chromebook, your downloads will show up. You done? Mm-hmm. All right, y'all can have some recess. All right, let's see if we can find it. Oh, okay.
I think I got a little bruise on my foot.
Uh-oh. And that's what I thought. Working at home was a little difficult for me.
What are mine? Let's see. Mine, that's what Harrison. He's not?
All right, well, I get hooked up to I'll walk you through Chromebook-wise. When you take a screenshot from a Chromebook, and it'll save into your downloads. So when this screen appears, you're going to click Browse, and it's going to open up your files in your Chromebook. Your choices on the left, choose the one that says Downloads, and you may have to click a few times to get it, but you're going to see a list, and it'll say Screenshot, and it'll have the date of today on there. And you pick that image, and it'll upload it there. Now, a PC is very similar, where you click this browse and then Windows Explorer will pop up and you can find that image in your downloads. All right, let's see if we can get this working. So there's my bug. Save as. A little bit different working from home then. All right, we're just going to start this all over. I'm going to do a new snip. I'm going to go to my PDF, bring up my snipping tool. All right, now we're going to save as. And yep, there's some kids coming through here. Try. I need to save as. Guys, can y'all play in the driveway, please? Yeah. Sorry, they're playing games in there. All right, come on. Let's just get this guy downloaded. All right, working from home. Here we go. Save as. Yes, I do. All right, plan B. There we go. All right, I finally got it saved. Now we're going to click on Browse. There we go. All right, I know mine is right here. I mean, just kind of find that image. You do have to download it or have it in a folder somewhere. You just can't copy and paste into Google Forms. It wants you to upload that image. So I'm going to open it. And then bam, there my bug finally appears. But look at my question. And it says, which plant picture below corresponds to the stage of the animal development above? Well, that picture of the bug is not above that text, so I'm going to change this to say below. And there's my bug. And if we go back to our Think It Up sheet, I have 4 pictures. So I have to go through that same process, either use that snipping tool or use Control and Shift, and then with your other hand, use the button above the 6 to make those screenshots. So when I'm working, I just go ahead and I like to make all my screenshots first. I'm going to go ahead and make all my screenshots. Got them all in. I'm going to go back to my Google form. Now under option 1, notice on the far right hand side, we have that square again with the mountains, which tells us I can put an image in. And so my first image is of the plant with big leaves. So again, I have to click on the word browse. And depending on Chromebook or PC, it's just going to vary right here. And I'm looking at this preview window right here, and there's that plant. And there it is. Now, if I leave this text the way it is, it's just going to say option 1. And so I'm just going to change that text to be an answer A. Let me check. Sorry, F. Let's change that to F. I'll just make it match the picture. And I'm just going to double check this and click the eyeball to preview what I have so far. And so there's my picture, and it is a little bigger than I anticipated. I just don't have any way to crop it, and just the littler the screenshot, that's just kind of how it comes out. I'm going to close that tab. Now I have other options, so I'm going to add other options. Guys, please play in the driveway. Please. Thank you. Sorry, trying to get them out. So I'm going to add another option. So it's not going to be B this time. It'll be G, and it's the seeds. So I need to go find a picture with the seeds. So clicked on that square with the mountains, and then we click on Browse. And I need the picture with the seeds, and there's my seeds. Next choice will be H. Again, click on the mountain, the picture with the mountains. And this one is the tomato on the vine. Let's see, I bet it's that one. And there it is. Click open. There's my picture. I have one more, and that's going to be a J. And then I click on the square with the mountains to upload that image. I mean, I wish there was a way to copy and paste an image, but they just want you to upload it. All right, and there is my question. If I picked the wrong image by chance, you could click on that X and it would take the image away. but I think I have that right. So I'm going to check my eyeball, check my preview, and see how it looks. Here's question 1, and then here's question 2 with my 4 pictures, F, G, H, J. I'm going to check my Think It Up book, F, G, H, J. They put them in different order, but everything's right. G is with the seeds. I'm going to close my preview out because I can't edit it. And we're going to add one more question during this live stream. To add a question, we click on the circle with the plus. And here's our next question. So I'm going to go back to my page. Oh, this is an easy one. So I'm going to take my text, select it, and then do a right click and copy. Go back to my Google form. In the question box, do a right click and then paste. Oops, once again, bad paste. So I'm going to click inside there and, oh, I did it the wrong place. Make that look like it's supposed to. Now we go get our text. We have an egg. Copy. Option 1, right click, paste. Back to my PDF. Here's adult, right click, copy. Go back to my form. Add an option, right click, paste. And we just keep doing this until we get all our answer choices. Oops, come on, there we go. I guess Google doesn't like that word, but I know it matches froglet. So it says it's misspelled, so I'm just going to go ahead and right click and then add it to my dictionary so I don't have that squiggly line underneath. Question is required. So I'm going to check my eyeball preview. Here's my bug question, and there is that question I just put in. Notice how it has a red asterisk out to the end of here? That's just signifying that these questions are required. Anytime you do that required, that red asterisk will show up. And if they try to submit the form without the asterisk, then they get this warning message. And it tells them that it is required. I'm going to close this tab, and that's all the questions I'm going to show for this live stream. Again, use that copy and paste. Use that snipping tool to get images. Make sure you save them, and then you upload them back to Google Forms. If you're on a Chromebook, it's Control Shift and the button above the number 6. All right, so last thing to cover in this live stream is turning this into a quiz and then putting it in our classroom. So if you remember, we did see the word quiz, and it was under this gear icon, and I said we would come back to it at the end. So under the gear, which is our settings, we have general, presentation, and then we have quizzes. So we're going to click where it says quizzes. And we're going to click on this white circle, and it'll move it to the right, and we'll turn this into a quiz. Moving down in our quiz settings, we have a choice for release grade. So this first choice immediately after submission, as soon as the students hit response, they'll see a link that says show me my score, and they can see their score right away. Some teachers may choose to do it later after they have a chance to look at it first. And in the responses, there's a button that says release the score, and it'll send it individually. So again, it's going to be teacher preference, but it all depends on what you're using your quiz for. If you're using it for mastery where they have to make 100, then you're going to want to leave it right here. If you're going to do your quiz a one-time, that's all they get, then you may want to do this later. So you're going to wait for everybody to submit their responses and then send it back. Because the grade will go to their email. They could forward that email to another student. And so, but you're just going to have to figure out which one is best. Now respondents, so whenever you send something back, this is what they can see. So if you're going to do this quiz for mastery, you may not want to reveal the correct answer or even what they missed. It just depends on how you're going to do that. But maybe you want to just show them the ones that they missed so they can go back and fix those ones. Again, it's just going to kind of depend on how you want to create this still. Now for point values, you know, you can show them the point values. It doesn't matter to me. But again, these two sections right here just depends on what you're going to use that quiz for. For this particular quiz, I'm going to require mastery. And so I'm going to leave this at immediately. They'll see their grade right away, and they can see which ones they missed, but they won't be able to see any of the correct answers. And we're going to click on Save. And now it's time in our form where we have to tell Google Forms which questions are correct and how many points they're worth. So this particular assignment has 11 questions. So you can do what? 11 divided by 100 is probably like 0.99, something like that, I would think. Or you can just make them worth 5 points each. It's kind of up to you how you want to grade, how you want your quiz graded. All right. So now to do a quiz to get the answer choices, we're first going to click on a question box, because you notice each question's kind of in its individual box. So I'm going to click on this first one, and notice now I have a button that says answer key. Well, this question is just their name. So I really don't want this one graded. So why don't we go to the first question I do care about their grade, which would be the next question. And then we're going to click on answer key. So we pick the correct answer. I don't even know which one it is, so I'm going to pick seed. I think seed goes first. So I pick the correct answer and I give it my points, and you can either use these arrows or you can simply highlight and just type in how many points you want that question worth, and then click done. And you have to do this for every question. Answer key. I think that's the adult, so that's going to be J. And this one's going to be worth 5 points as well. Scroll back down and click done. That's just a big question with all those pictures. Now, I do want to let you know that Google Forms will grade multiple choice, checkboxes, and these three right here: multiple choice, checkboxes, and drop down. If you have checkboxes, that means multiple answers could be correct, and there is no partial credit. It's either all or none. The students would have to get, you know, it's not a well, you got one, so you get half of it. It's all or none. So be careful using these checkbox type questions. You might want to make sure that there's only one response per each answer. If you do paragraph and short answer, Google, of course, will not grade those. You'll have to grade those as manually as a teacher or leave those as no points. So starting out, I would shy away from these. I would stay with multiple choice or the drop-down choice. And then as you get a little better with Google Forms, then you can start experimenting with other kinds of questions in your quizzes. I have one more question to do, so I'm going to click on that white box. Click where it says answer key. Pick my answer, comes after the tadpole, froglet, and then I'm going to make this one worth 5 points also, and then click done. All right, last thing before I let you loose is we're going to put this quiz into Google Forms, and it's a little bit different than doing a Google Doc or a PDF or a Google Slide. So I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom. Oh, thanks, Mr. Nichols, for taking on the comments for me. All right, so we're going to add an assignment. We're going to go to the classwork tab, click on create, click on assignment. Of course, we're going to give it a title. And I'm just going to go pull the same title from my Google Forms. select it all and choose copy. And then right click and choose paste. I can give the student some instructions. You must A100. Please retake as needed. Something along those lines. I'm gonna go to the add button, and this is where I'm gonna add my Google form to that. And so I'm gonna choose Google Drive. And more than likely it'll show up under recent because I've just been working on that. And so there it is right there at the top. And so then I'm gonna click add. And so what I want you to notice right away is over on this side, there is no choices about students can view, students can edit, make a copy for each student. It does say locked mode on a Chromebook, which you could use in the classroom when they were on our network. That could come at a later time if we ever get back into the school building. But the reason why there are no choices for view, edit, or give each student a copy is because basically a Google form is a website, and it's a link to a website. And so there's no need for each student to have their own copy of the link to the website. And so each student will just be, they'll click on that assignment and it'll take them to that website that has the Google form on it. So here we got it in. And once again, we could schedule this. Remember to keep our classrooms clean. We can schedule things for when they're actually going to be assigned. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to assign it. And then once it's assigned, I'm going to have you go in and take that quiz. And I'm going to take it as a student so then we can see the results. So your assignment has been posted. Once it appears on your stream, if you would take that quiz, that would be great. And I'm going to go into my student account now. Go into the classwork. Go into my Think It Up assignment. I'm still doing my.
There's went on to poison oak and trying to go around the neighborhood to get back to our house.
Okay, well, I'll deal with it when I get home.
Should I go ride my bike?
No, just stay here. He'll come back. He'll come back. So we open up our assignment, and here is our form. And when the student clicks on that form, it will open it up into that website. It is collecting their email address. So again, the first thing they do is put their name in, answer their questions, and then once they're done, they click submit. So here's that button to view their score. And this is on the student side because I left it as immediately. They can see their responses immediately. So the student click there and view their score. Oops, I got that one wrong. Oops, I got that one wrong. And I got that one right. Notice it didn't tell me which one was correct. So the student can close this out. And they can open the assignment and then they can retake it. Oh, I must have left it on form once. Let me check that setting. Yeah, I did only limit it to one. So my instructions didn't really make sense, did they? Well, let's see if they'll let me do it again. Oh, I guess I may be stuck on that one. Yep. Oh well. I forgot I restricted it to one, so. All right, so let's see some student responses. Now, another thing you can do as a teacher is you can take your quiz just to make sure it's going to interact with the student the way you want it to. So I'm in my teacher Google Classroom, and I can open up that assignment, and I can click on this link, and it takes me to the exact same quiz the students would see, and I could even take it as a teacher. So I might even want to put my name as demo teacher, pick some answers, get some wrong on purpose, and submit it. you didn't make 100, please retake, but I forgot to change that setting. So I'd have to start over with this assignment. I just have to delete that assignment and then make a new assignment. So if you score, does that work the way I want it to? It's good to me. Also, it allows you to make sure the results are going where they're supposed to be going. Okay, thanks. All right, to wind this up, we're going to see the student result. Oh, look, I got 5 that have turned it in. And the thing about Google Forms, as soon as they hit submit, boom, it shows up as done. So as a teacher, I would click on this link. Notice at the bottom right-hand corner, you won't have this because you're in as a student, but I'm a teacher, and so I have a pencil, and I'm the owner of this form, so I can now edit. So I'm going to click on that pencil, and right here in the middle, ooh, I got a number 8 that appeared. We have questions, but then next to it is the word responses. And so far, we have 8 responses. And so here I can see a summary. I can see all the people that have taken my quiz. And I can see each of their answers in a row. I can see the distribution of each of those answers. But now I can go into the individual, and I can see what individually they did. Well, this was the student demo one that I took. And then here's that release score button. So I can click on that button, and it'll send it to that student, send emails and release. I can use these arrows to go to the next student. This is for Christy. Christy got 5, 5, and 5, a 100. Release the score, goes to Christy. I can go to the next student. 5 of 5. That's about as good a score as I did. So, but that's how you see all the students. So the summary is over here, the individuals on the right, and the questions are in the middle where you can see question by question. So here we got all the names that people have entered. And then I go to the next question. The problem with this layout is I don't know who answered which one. So I would recommend the summary will give you an idea of what they're doing on each question, but then the individual responses are there. So by chance, if you're someone that likes spreadsheets, you can click on this green square and it'll take all that data and put it into a spreadsheet for you. Let's check it out. So we're going to create a new spreadsheet and then click create. And it titles the spreadsheet the same as the form, but then it puts the word responses in parentheses at the end. So on this spreadsheet, I have their timestamp, I have their email address, and notice if these were real Temple students, their email address would be 6 digits at Gcloud. So that's the reason for having this first question be a name. I can see what each student responded, and then column C shows me their actual grade. And once again, to create that spreadsheet, you just click on this green square, choose create spreadsheet, and it'll create that for you. Now it's always saved in your drive, and you can always get back to it. All right, I'm going to check the stream for some comments. Our time has just gotten down. I want to thank Thomas Nichols again for managing our comments. When using short answer paragraph question that required as part of the quiz, there's a way for them not counted wrong, or do I need to go into a form as each student answer? Robin, I would say that you make it worth no points, where they would still make it required, but make it worth no points. And that way it doesn't really hurt their grade. And then you can apply bonus points to it as needed. Bold or italics, I don't think so. Let me go back to my editor. Let me try to do the word correct, and I'll do Control B and Control I. Nope, neither one. So I'm stuck with the font that I have. Good question, though. how I did the images again. I will, once the live stream is done recording, I will put it in this Google Classroom so you can refer back to it. Or feel free to reach out to your campus instructional technology specialists and they can walk you through how to make those images again. That was a rough part of my live stream. I wasn't connected to the district network from home. Adding collaborators, good point. All right, to add a collaborator for somebody in your grade level or in your department, that's going to be under these 3 vertical dots. And here's your add collaborators button. In all the other Google platforms, we say share. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share this with you. But in Google Forms, it's add collaborators. And then they have the ability to edit all those questions or even make a copy for themselves. Maryland, share a form with another teacher without affecting the student's scores. Again, I would add that teacher as a collaborator, and then they can make a copy of that form. So then it's the same form, but then the results won't merge together. All right, good. Thanks, Thomas. You knocked that out. All right, we are coming to an end. I'm just checking any more questions. Again, thanks, Thomas, for managing the comments for me. I will put the link to the recording in Google Classroom in this class, so everybody will have access to it. Well, I appreciate your time today. And I know I ran a lot longer than I thought I would have, but that was some good information. Have a wonderful afternoon and look forward to working with each and every one of you during the remote learning time we have. That is all for today.